two people that were here.
Mayor, I'd like to call the meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Diane.
Murder. Mazer.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
Sofa absent. Wilson.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Zimmer.
Here.
I'll make a motion to, I can't make a motion. Can I get a motion to excuse?
I'll make the motion to excuse absence. Support.
Mazer.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Sofa absent. Wilson.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
And Murder.
Yes. Okay, now an agenda items from the sidelines. Mrs. Martyr?
Yeah, do I have to stand up? I don't really want to.
Go ahead.
I want something done about the house next door. It looks like it's abandoned. The lawn's this long, the guy's never there, and I would like the lawn cut out or something. And then we got mini Adair salvage down here. That looks terrible. Every time I turn around, there's more junk there for sale.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's an eyesore. You know, and that's my gripe.
It's been brought up before, what's been done, has any action been taken with him? Has anybody talked to him?
I don't know if anybody's ever.
You sent a letter at some point, a couple months ago, right?
Well, Kurt sent
I thought we sent a letter.
And they ignored it. That's what I
Pretty much,
Yeah,
because
got
we don't have
back.
enforcement.
was never answered.
Is that considered commercial, his property?
No, residential.
It's residential
It's commercial.
with commercial overlay.
So it
Doesn't
would
matter.
be,
It's residential, so, the commercial.
It's in the C1 R1 district.
so.
There's no building on the land, so if there's a building on the land and you actually had maybe a salvage business, maybe you could stretch that, because you can have it, but he doesn't.
Right.
So actually, right now, it's just an empty lot.
It's an empty
bunch of
residential
junk
lot
on it.
that he's using for a yard
He
sale.
does have a lot of acreage in
For
the back.
commercial purpose.
Well, yeah.
And you can't,
Hey,
you
dear
can't have,
many.
in the
You got
C1,
about 10
our overlay
acres.
district, if you got a business that
Okay.
either putting things on the outside, like a cafe out here, putting, sidewalk sales, that's permissible way, I understand
Right.
the ordinances, but in this case, he's just throwing stuff out there like a permanent yard sale.
Well, that's why we have our nuisance committee meeting and looking at enforcement for all that.
Well,
Right.
as it stands right now, if it's
All right.
considered any commercial to it,
I'll hear about
the
this.
chief
when I
of
get
police
the
could go
thing.
to it.
All
If
right.
not, then the mayor or one of the city councils could go to it.
All right, comments from city administration. Judy's not here?
Judy asked me if there's a party for Norbert.
Yep.
He's 100 years old, and it's going on right now.
So if we hurry up when we get out of here, we can head over to
Yeah,
that
so
party.
she asked me to extend the invitation, and unfortunately, didn't figure out there'd be a conflict of interest, because a lot of us know Norbert from the Lions, but, yeah, they're over there having cake and ice cream, and everybody's invited to see if anybody's over there after around the meeting, and wish Norbert a happy 100th birthday. A World War II vet, one of the few we have left around here, great guy, long time city contributor.
I think Larry's gonna cover most of what I
Okay.
regarding.
Doug?
My items are further down the agenda here.
Okay.
I want to say, remember tomorrow will be closed because we have the 2 meetings.
Okay. Those city offices will be closed tomorrow. All right, any amendments to the agenda? If not,
I have two.
okay.
Okay. On the agenda there, under new business number 4, is the water system resolution approval. Since Roger has a 2.5-hour drive after this, I'd like to put that on as number 1 under unfinished business and change the ordinance to number 2. Okay, and then I want to amend new business, and number 4 will be a resolution to attentively award a construction contracts for the water and system improvements. No further changes. I make my motion we adopt the agenda as amended.
Support.
Schneider.
Yes.
Sofa absent, Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer.
Yes.
All right, next up, approval of the regular and special meeting minutes on June 6th, 2023, and June 28th, 2023. Can I get a motion?
If there's no questions or changes, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Sofa absent, Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yeah.
All right, presentation approval of the June disbursements report of $139,566.16, and the electronic wire transfers of $17,839.82. Can I get a motion? to
I'll
pay
make
the
a motion
bills?
that we approve the June disbursements in the amount of $139,566.16 and the electronic wire transfers of $17,839.82.
Second.
Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa absent.
All right, communications, I have none. Unfinished business, item number 1, water system resolution.
I'm going to kind of go through this a little bit, and Roger, if you will straighten me out, if you've got any questions, and help the council understand what we're doing here. So if you look at the resolution for authorizing the issuance of the water and sewer system revenue bonds, most of this, a lot of this kind of boilerplate, but go to page 3, and we go to R. There's, most of that paragraph is correct, except improving the water mains and replacing existing water mains, installing new water mains and other water main work. Roger, I think I informed you that's not gonna be done, so should that be still left in there?
I talked to Gary Bartow about that, and he asked that you leave it as drafted, because he said there is some chance with the state that if there's money,
Pull up some more funds, then we can cover the bases.
yeah, he said it's not absolutely.
Okay, all right, because that was one thing I noticed, and I thought I'd want clarification
Sure.
on that. Okay, if you go to page 5. Let's see here. Okay, if you go, number 5, and you go down to the last paragraph there, and it says, within the limitations provided above, the final amount of any maturity and the terms of the Series 223 bonds shall be provided in the contract documents and will be fully determined by the authorized officers. My question on that is, I know that all the documentation has to be signed by September 8th on this. Now, will, at that point then, will everything be set in place? And that then, when we can't go beyond that, in other words, if something happens later, like maybe cost overruns or something like that, would the amount of the bond issue be changed? Or we have to stay within the parameters of whatever's established at that time?
Yeah, so actually, the state is gonna want to have final decisions from the city as to the amount of the bonds, actually by August 1st. And then, I don't know the exact date, but it's about the 3rd week of August, we'll actually have to have everything signed. And then on September 8th is the closing day. Nothing will actually happen on the closing day. Everything will be in Lansing. We'll just get an email from them that says the bond issue is closed. So, actually, the numbers are kind of pretty much already set, with kind of just the one issue being, does the city want to pay that $156
Well,
from cash,
I'll tell
which
you
you,
right now we do.
yeah.
So, and I know there's a certain way that you do it, and, because I think there was a memo relating to the minimum bond issue will be $390, then the principal forgiveness will be $191.1, which then shows $198.9. Now, we do have to pay the 156.1, which I don't know, when would that be paid? When would the city pay that?
Well, you will actually just, you know, you will use that money to actually just pay the contractor directly. So, you know, as bills come in that are required to be paid, you'll use the 156 for
Do it
that.
that,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
And I did want to just say, the resolution does authorize potentially up to the 546,100 in bonds. And we do that just because the state's told us that they're okay with the city paying that cash without that reducing any of the free money that the city gets. But the state's kind of notorious for not always, you know, doing what they say. So I did want to keep that flexibility here, just in case there's any issue and the state would balk at what they told us verbally. So officially, it could be up to the 546.1, but we understand that the city does want to pay the 156,100 from city cash, so that won't be borrowed. That'll come out from the bond issue. And so the total financing package that you're getting from the state is $1,420,000.
Correct.
873,900 of that is coming to the city in the form of a grant. So we take that off to get down to the 546,100, which is the total amount that the city could borrow if you wanted to. But then assuming that the city pays the 156,100 in cash, that then brings the bond amount down to 390. And this is a little odd the way the state does this, but the remaining amount that the city is going to receive from the state is not a grant. It's what they call principal forgiveness. So, you know, if this goes as we're talking, the number that will be on the bond certificate will be 390,000. And then on the day that we close the bonds, they will give us an alternate repayment schedule that reduces that by an additional 191,100, which is what they call principal forgiveness, which then means the net amount of the bonds that the city will repay to the state will be 198,900. That will be the total of the bond repayment.
That's kind of how you explained it to me over the phone, so.
And that's, no questions, right? What you just said. The principal forgiveness, the amount of the grant, and then what we owe.
Right, yeah.
Or what we're gonna borrow.
They will give, so basically the principal forgiveness happens when the state gives the city an alternate payment schedule.
No, I understand that.
And they will actually give that to us prior to the day that we close, so that we'll have it in our hands and that will immediately happen.
Yeah.
So that's what we understand. So I think my answer to your question is yes. We do have a conference call with the state that'll happen on August 1st, and Mayor, if you could be available for that, and Larry, if you wanted to be available as well. They will confirm all that for us on August 1st, and then a few days after that, we'll get a purchase contract from the state that will put that all in black and white.
And just for the council's edification, the amount of the yearly payment average is just a little over $12,000 a year. And our ready to serve actually accumulates a little over 10,000. So I think the rest, if we wanted, could come out of the general fund, or if we have the balance in there, could come out of that. So I think we can cover that without extreme increase in water and sewer rates at this point. I don't know. We'll address that issue a little later on. Now,
I would just say that these are revenue bonds, so you do need to pay them out of the revenues of the system, so.
On water and sewer, yeah.
Yeah, so they shouldn't come from the general fund.
Yeah, but we could put money in there, couldn't we?
No, you're actually covenanting that you're gonna pay this with rent, so you do need to make sure that you.
How we'll do it,
Yeah.
as I said.
Your water system has to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, okay. All right, the next one is page 6. And it's number 7, and it's prior redemption. This states that series 2023 bonds issued and sold to the authority shall be subject to redemption prior to maturity by the city only with prior written consent of the authority and in such terms as may be required by the authority. Now, it's our understanding they used to do that, but the state frowns on it and may not, but I think, if I got on council right then, I think after a few years, if you got the money, you should ask to pay it off, so that we're not going out 20 years. So,
I don't know why you're looking at me.
yeah, no, I won't, you won't be on there maybe too, but, at my age, I doubt if I'll be on that one, okay? But when you get my age, you don't look that long-term at anything, so, okay?
Like, should you buy 5 bananas or 6?
All right, page 8. This is the C at the kind of halfway down that says depository payments of the principal of the premium and interest on the bonds is in immediately available funds at 12 noon, at least 5 days prior to the date of such payment. So what I understand by that is that 5 days prior to payment, you want that payment to go in. Is that correct?
Right,
What
that's,
page are you on? Hang on, nobody
not on
knows.
page 8.
It's not 8.
Page 7,
Okay.
I think it's.
page 7C.
Yeah.
Did I say 8? I'm sorry. Yeah, so does that mean then we make sure the payments are there 5 days in advance of the due date? Is that what that's referring to?
Right, yeah. The state requires that bond payments be made on April 1st and October 1st, and you actually have to wire them the money 5 days before that.
Okay. All right.
Verify the money's in the account.
Yeah.
Okay, I got page 8, and that's when, and you just stated it, payments are due April 1st and October 1st of each year. And so that's what it states in there. And, see, page 14. Now, this is, and I discussed this briefly with you on the phone the other day too. This is a little complicated, and it kind of states that you have to set up separate funds and so on. And we do a budget every year, and I'd like that simplified, so we're not setting up a fund for that, put the money in a separate account, a bank account, and pay it. We do a budget every year, so, and we did this years ago. We have in the revenue side, we set up the, make sure that, and sign X amount of dollars, which in this case, say it would be $12,000, we'd separate in the revenue side. And then on the expense side, then we put on the expense the same amount, so it averages out. It's so small, I can't see setting up a bank account just to handle that money. Would that be feasible to do it that way?
Yeah, so the first comment I'd make is that there's a lot of funds mentioned here, but that's because this is what we call a master resolution. So it's setting up the structure for what could happen in the future if there were different types of bonds that the city would have to issue. And we want to get this set up, flexibly now so that we don't tie your hands for that in the future. The key funds that you're going to need for this bond issue are an operational maintenance fund, which is just where you pay your operational expenses for the water and sewer system. So you probably have that on your books already now. And then secondly, a junior lien principal and interest redemption fund. And that's just simply the fund where payments are made from the city to the money goes in there, and then the payments are made to the state.
Okay.
That's just a fund for accounting
Yeah,
purposes.
well, we have a water sewer fund, and so it somehow could be handled that way we wouldn't necessarily have to set up a separate account for it, though. I mean, a bank account, or would we?
Just a line item, right?
Yeah, just a line item, yeah.
For that one, I would say legally, the law says you're supposed to, but as you say, it's kind of a silly requirement and it's kind of nonsense, so I can't tell you that all my clients actually go ahead and do that. Don't ask me that question,
Okay. All
and if
right.
your auditor lets you get away with it, you'll be okay.
Okay, all right.
And that's what I would, with respect to these funds, that's what I would recommend, is just kind of get together with your auditor, because if the auditor doesn't have problems, nobody else is gonna ask you questions.
Okay.
I mean, an account can mean many different things, the word account.
The-
We have a water and sewer account.
No,
We
I-
have police department accounts, and our line items in our budgets. They're all accounts,
Right.
you know, generally.
Yeah.
The state law is a little bit
Right,
archaic on this one, so, you know, technically, yes, but, you know, I'm not gonna ask you.
Okay, we'll get with our auditors and when you get that.
Sure.
Okay, the last question I have here, and you've answered this, and I don't agree with it, but I guess we have to do it. And that's on page 22, and publication and record. This resolution shall be published once in full in a newspaper of the general circulation, the city qualified under the state law to publish legal notices, and the same shall be recorded in the records of the city, and such recording authenticated by the signature of the clerk. So what that, and we use the Voice newspaper for all that. So that means the whole 24 pages, which I think is ridiculous, but has to go and be printed and authorized, and so and I suppose we gotta record it with you or somebody, with the state or what, that's all.
Yeah, so that's just an unfortunate requirement of the Revenue Bond Act. I will need to see an affidavit of publication from the paper to see that it was actually done before we can close on the bonds. And so while it's ridiculous and it's a nuisance and I don't like it either, the bonds won't be legal if you don't do it.
We don't do it,
And,
yeah.
and
So
so,
we
yeah.
spend a couple of bucks in the newspaper and
Well,
we
you
get
know,
the
a couple
Yeah.
bucks.
Yeah.
I think the minimum would be 1,000, and probably more, it could be
Yeah,
up to 2,000.
every paper is different, the average is kind of 2,000 to 3,000. And it can be paid for out of the bond proceeds, and it's, the way I would look at it is, you know, you're getting a lot of grants and
That's why I said,
forgiveness
we'll
from
put
the
some money
state,
out
that's kind
front,
of
but
the
we're getting,
cost of
this is to
doing it.
ensure we get the grants.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
I watched the money.
There was just a general view of that posting paper with a link to the entire.
No, unfortunately, this is an odd statute.
Somebody wants to go and pick up the paper and read it, then it's there, not having to rely
Well,
on
I
the
told- I
link
told
or
Roger
internet
nobody
or
to
something
read
like
it.
that.
Yeah, and I fully believe that. There are other things that you do that can be published by a synopsis, but this statute doesn't allow that. It's just an unfortunate, and, you know, the state's tried to change this a number of times, but the newspapers have very strong lobbyists, and we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's all the questions I have, and I don't know if I guess the council has to, want to answer anything?
I'm all set.
Well, Larry, just again for clarity, because I'm not really sure on the lowest and Robert streets, are we going to
No.
6-inch mains?
No.
And we're not going to replace
No,
the service lines?
And no, we're not. I'll get into when the final resolution on the tank construction, I'll get that in after that.
There's one thing I want to mention. So this will be available in the future, at least next year probably, this same program, right? So whatever we set up as far as revenue and accounts, line items or whatever, they will probably be used again in the future if we go for this grant again and we receive it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one thing that's good about what we're doing right now is that it will be available.
Yeah,
Most of the paperwork will have already been done.
yeah.
Okay.
There would be, you know, if you did this again next year, there would be another resolution needed,
Mhm.
but it'll be shorter than this one because what's here, we don't have to.
Okay, nothing else then, I make a motion that we approve the resolution to authorize the issuance of water and sewer systems revenue bonds.
Support.
Simmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Leeser,
Yes,
Schneider. Yes.
Sophos, absent Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Roger, you to go unless you wanna stay.
All right, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. You're welcome. Next week. Have a good night. Thank you.
Drive safe.
Thank you. Yep, you're welcome.
Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
All right, unfinished business number 2. Introduction of ordinance number 219, an ordinance amending title, what was that, 15, chapter 150, completely amending and reinstating section 150.012 regarding regulations of marijuana establishments as provided herein.
Mr. Mayor, we discussed this, the last council meeting, and we look at the
So to be clear, this is just eliminating the part where we met last month and it said the cultivation parts, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, it eliminates those,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
But leaving intact, the ability to monitor,
Right.
just in case any business would be doing something that would add things to the sewer system and whatnot, leave, you thought that would be,
Because the question was
Good to
around
have it.
cultivation potentially leading to growth.
right?
Right. That's my thought.
Sure, somebody make a motion.
Yeah, okay, I make a motion that we, introduce, I should say. Ordinance, 219, completely amending and restating section 150.012 regarding the regulations of marijuana establishment.
Support.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Murder,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa absent, Wilson.
Okay, moving right around to new business. Fire department, purchase of 5 new radios.
Can you have the light thing under unfinished business?
No, we took it off.
Okay, I'm sorry. Looking for approval to purchase 5 new radios for the department. Total cost for those would be $17,717. The company that we would be buying them from uses the state of Michigan buying contract, I guess you call it, where the state has negotiated prices for those. We applied for a grant from the state of Michigan. It's called the Michigan Fire Equipment Grant Program. It's a grant program new this year, set up only for volunteer departments for a change. And I applied for $25,000 worth there. I think, the way they make it sound is it's a sure thing grant. There's no matching funds.
So we buy the radios now and then we get the
And then we get reimbursed for them.
Okay. I'm curious with the radios, what's the rate on those?
I can be on the radio in Copper Harbor in the UP and talk to the guys down here,
Okay.
because they use cell towers.
And these are the encrypted radios, the ones, these is like the next generation of what's going to be
They
required.
will be encrypted. We currently aren't using encryption in the county, but they're going towards that, yes.
They're able to be used encrypted, right?
Yes.
Is there a cost to change them over to the encrypted?
No.
Okay.
There is a license though for each radio, right?
Yeah, there's a, just point out too, this is a new brand of radio we're trying, Kenwood's. Emmett and Richmond currently use them, are really happy with them. If we stuck with the Motorola's that we have now as a brand, the amount of this request would be double what is here.
What are you gonna do with the old ones?
We'll keep them for now, but they're, I'll say, getting unreliable. Motorola doesn't support them anymore, they're that old. So even getting repairs when it's hard.
Can I get a motion to allow the fire department to purchase 5 new radios?
I'll move for the purchase of 5 new radios by the fire department. Be reimbursed eventually if we get the grant money.
And the cost on that is $17,717.
Support?
Murder,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa absent, Wilson.
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting to hold one of these radios up to someone who's not seen one before and say, what would you guess this costs?
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, $200. So, try it, 3,000.
And that's the, the site that I work at, and they come, they have to have all the insurance, they have
Right.
radios, and they don't skip off of the towers, but they still have a range of about 30 miles, which is amazing to me, but those are very expensive units. This is big. So, okay, up next, Mark, we got a tree removal invoice from Advanced Tree Experts.
Yeah, it's two trees, they were $600 each, they were thrown up into, some wires and that, so there's a little more to bring it down.
Who was this at?
Right on Main Street up there, there's two of them, and semis, not cars, but trucks were hitting them, and they're always leaving limbs in the middle, and 19 and stuff.
Okay.
Bart, is the city responsible for the trees or is the state? Right, is the city responsible for the trees between the sidewalk?
State should be, but,
Did you get
For-
reversed?
For
I've
safety.
had one tree successfully taken down back in the early 90s.
So for safety and security, it's best to step up and take them down.
If you want it done, and I do budget for this stuff, I know Main Street, there's a lot of things that the county's supposed to take care of,
Okay.
including the drains. It's like when I have a jet truck in town, I might do a couple, because it's like an act of God to get them out here to use their battery trucks. And I'm paying for a 2-hour minimum, usually it's 4 hours. So the little, 10 minutes to take care of a drainage problem is just fast for me to get done.
Can I have a motion to pay advanced tree experts?
I'll make a motion to approve the invoice from Advanced Tree Experts in the amount of $1,200.
Support.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa absent, Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr.
Yes. All right, Doug, you again. This is with Apollo Fire Apparatus Sales and Service. You want to give us a little explanation?
Sure, the invoice you have in front of you is for the annual oil change to our engine, which comes out to $1,074. As you know, last month, I think it was, I was trying to get the ball rolling as far as purchasing a new engine. If you look on the second page of this invoice in the shaded area there, those are all the things that he found currently wrong with our engine that need to be addressed maintenance wise. There's thousands of dollars worth of stuff there, so we need to seriously be looking to get a new engine here.
That is a big list. All right, can I get a motion to pay Apollo Fire Apparatus $1,074.09?
I'll make a motion to pay Apollo 1,007, what was it?
74 or
$1,074.09.
I'll make that motion to pay that bill.
support.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa absent, Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Martyr,
Yes.
Mazer.
Yes.
All right, next up under new business, a resolution to tentatively award a construction contract for water system improvements. So we're looking at the recommendations on who we would have to do the actual construction and work on this, correct?
Yeah, this is just a tentatively award as part of the procedure that we have to get through. And it states who the contractors are and the amount. So, Bart and I both had, I don't know, the last 2 or 3 days, I guess we've talked to them about 3 or 4 times on the
Right.
phone with conferences and so on. So this was finalized today. So, it's kind of self-explanatory, but if you need questions, we can answer it fast. So,
Any questions on that side of the motion? Yeah?
if not, I'll make the motion.
Just what's not getting done that we originally thought we were gonna get done? There will be, is the road gonna be
No.
repaid?
No, Lois and Water Street was completely taken off the table. Apparently, it was through the state that did that. And I don't know why, but it was just taken off. And in retrospect, we would have put bids to them, we wouldn't have had the money to do it anyway, because it would have exceeded.
That's
the
why I
1 million
added those
420.
up, yeah.
Yeah, you had almost, $1 million just, over there.
Yeah.
1,200, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna eat up the majority of it and everything, what we, everything else we.
So that at this point is,
So we still have that drainage issue to address over there though? I mean,
Well,
that was going to be incorporated into that work.
I got ideas for that, I just,
yeah, the whole thing.
something I'd have to get with the contractor and
Yeah.
council's whole, with the thought I have.
Yeah, we'd have had to have, maybe a 2 million at least, grant?
I would say at least.
Maybe more, yeah.
At least.
And-
2.5 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, one more question. On the ready to serve, if our repayment's gonna be like 12,000 a year. Now, we're already, you said you generate 10,000 a year.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get the audit done first and then see where we stand.
Well, I'm
And
just
then
saying,
I
if we
think
put it in our,
they're gonna be doing that this month, or next month?
Probably not this month,
Not this month,
probably not.
so we probably won't know till October.
I don't know, they're short help, so that it seems like it's from later in the
Normally know in
year.
September. We'll have to look at it.
I was just saying, if they're already doing ready to serve like $6, if you bump that up to maybe 9, that would get you to 12,000.
Yeah, well, actually, we
Without-
could probably up it to about $2 and handle it, but we'll look at it.
I think that'd be a good
Yeah,
option.
okay.
But you're gonna have new meters, so your meters should be good for 20 years anyway.
Yeah,
Roughly.
yeah, the meters, yeah, that's right,
Mhm.
yeah. And the, just to, the media replacement, that was, let's see, that was under,
It's Peerless, right?
Peerless.
No, meter replacement.
Oh,
not
me,
this.
no, I'm sorry.
Michigan.
That was Michigan Pipe,
Yeah, Michigan Pipe, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, water and-
That come out to a big chunk of coin right there, didn't it? Like $200,000 more than you were anticipating?
Something, most of it was high. The wells came in at 60, which
Yeah.
if I was to budget, I would budget anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000 a full well. Yeah, the other ones, figures were quite high.
Yeah, the generator, that kind of astounds me.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, he indicated today he may look at that and see if we can sharpen the pencil a little bit.
on that and the media.
Yeah,
But
so,
I don't know, because I checked with, I think it was City Armada, and they just changed the media over there. They have 4 vessels in one building. And they had a company out of Canada come down. I think it was $400,000 for 2 vessels. Then this company offered them, well, if you want the existing, the other 2 vessels done, we'll drop the price for them 2 vessels to $350,000.
This is the first time the media's been changed since we.
It is.
Water meter, yeah.
it is.
No, the media.
Media.
Oh, the media, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for
Well, I'm
sure.
still getting good numbers, that's,
Right.
But it is, so that 200,000, or 204, I guess it is, that, I guess is basically what their chip pay and the other.
I was very shocked, but again, I knew of one city that had it, and when they told me their figures, I thought, damn.
Yeah, because we were astounded it was that high.
Yeah.
When they put this in, they indicated about $20,000 or something like that. It's 10 times that. Anyway, I'll make a motion then that we approve the resolution to tentatively award the construction contracts for the water system improvements. And you won't have to write this down, I'll state here, but you can get it off here, so you don't have to write it down. But Raven Excavating, Company Contract 1, lead service line replacements for a reduced amount of $267,125. Michigan Pipe, contract number 2, water meters replacement in the amount of $250,883. And contract 3, Ranky Electric generator for the recommended amount of $345,000. Northern Pump and Well, contract 4, filter media replacement for $204,614,000. And contract 5, Peerless Midwest, pump replacement in the recommended amount of $60,200.
Support.
Sofa absent, Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Murder,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes. I have a question before you move on. So when these projects are actually being done, who supervises them? The engineers or the city?
On what again, Eric?
All these projects, replacing the media,
They do.
who's they?
Flish,
The engineers.
yeah.
Engineers.
Okay.
Yeah, they,
So
So they're gonna provide us with reports, right, on each project, how it went, what was
yeah,
done?
they're
we're
like,
used to.
they're like a field engineering, and they, and of course, they review it, just like, BMJ does with their roads. Okay. I guess-
And I'm sure I'll be involved in this too, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
so,
you'll be involved, that's for sure.
like-
Track the time on it, would you?
What's that?
Track the time on that.
Yeah.
Did we vote on that?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, I'm just, I'm
Sorry.
before we do. For myself, like to reiterate what Mr. Weaver said about, we get out of here in time, get over to, wish Norbert Miner a happy 100th birthday over at the Lions Club. Other than that, for me, I have nothing. Larry?
Yeah, and I have an invoice from Fish Management, and it wasn't, it was kind of on hold, and it wasn't in the, what we approved for our payments. And Bart and I discussed this, and I think we'd like to, give them okay to pay it. And it's an invoice dated June the 20th.
Why don't we
And
throw
it's
this
in the
back
amount
in?
of $32,160.18.
What amount?
You don't have a copy of it.
No, no.
But normally we include it in our payables, but it wasn't in there. So I'll make a motion that we approve that.
What amount is it?
Oh, $32,160.18.
Support.
Wilson,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Zimmer,
Yes.
Murder,
Yes.
Mazer,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Sofa absent.
Anything else, Larry?
That's it.
Mr. Weaver?
I have a footnote.
Robbie? Anything, Robbie?
Just an update, we talked today briefly about advisory for the blight situation. We're gonna have some more follow-up with some of the situation that Ira Township, how they handled some of their nuisance and some of the things that they explored. So more news to come about that, hopefully next month.
Eric?
I just want to remind people that when they take stuff down to the burn pile, that don't use plastic bags, no trash, no construction material. That's all illegal by the state, has nothing to do with the city. If the city gets caught with that stuff in our burn pile, it's gonna be our fine. So don't use plastic bags, use paper, no construction materials, and no trash.
Yeah.
And that's all I have. Motion to adjourn.
You need to,
Your wife makes-
I forgot to tell everybody how we watched raccoons and possum next door. The other night, 5 skunks going on the porch. So, I mean, nobody's there.
Didn't we sell that house?
kick them out.
Yeah, they got.